OMG. I'm so excited. Hello, dear friends. Happy fucking Woke Wednesday. When I tell you that I have waited for hours for us to get here, for years for us to get here, I am so excited. I cannot express. This may be, in fact, the first happy Woke Wednesday I have ever done. So I am thrilled for folks to join today. Do you have your champagne? Are you drinking? Am I drinking by myself? Hi, Andrew, my wonderful producer. Am I drinking by myself, friends? I don't like to drink alone. So I hope that everybody has their fucking cocktail in hand. Yes, we fucking made it. Oh my God. I cannot... When I tell you that I did not believe that we would get here, when I tell you that I did not believe that America would do the right thing, that America would show up, that America would commit to democracy, to think about the trauma that we have all collectively lived through for the past 4 years, but most definitely in the past year. And to see what we saw today, to witness it, the joy that I feel in my heart, the lightness that I felt when I woke up this morning, the tears that I have shed all day for the first time, tears of actual joy, not tears of grief, not tears that are wrapped in anxiety and worry about what is to come, not wondering about the dropping of the other shoe, but tears today that I shed, and I know that many of you shed, as we listened, right, to our leaders. We have been children almost left alone, right, unattended to. Children that have been allowed to just run wild in a field with no one caring for us or about us. I want to start off today's Woke Wednesday in honesty with a reflection that I had watching the COVID-19 memorial yesterday in Washington, D.C. As many of you know who listen to Woke AF Daily or Democracy-ish, that I spent my formative years in Washington, D.C. It's where I went to college. It is where I went to undergrad. It is where I cut my professional teeth in politics and in policy. I went to Washington, D.C. as a young, idealistic person because, what? I believed in change. I believed in the possibility of our democracy. I believed in being a part of a solution, of the power of people that look like me, that love like me. I believed that we had a place and that it was my job, right, with the privileges that I had been given to take up fucking space. And so I went to Washington, D.C. with hope really high about what was possible and what could be done. So when I tell you that the scenes from January 6th, the scenes of the destruction and the desecration of our Capitol, you might as well have ransacked my own home. That was how gutted I felt witnessing those images, watching these videos and all of the perspectives that we have seen, all of the different ways in which these people, these terrorists, try to bring down our democracy. Watching the Capitol building in such disarray and destruction on January 6th tore my heart out in a way that I did not think was possible because, you know, much in the way as James Baldwin, who is over my shoulder here, says that I love America. And it is because of my love for America that I feel the need to criticize her perpetually. I butchered the quote, but that is the essence of it. I have never loved a place more, and I have never been more disappointed or traumatized by a place more than the United States. It is a place that embodies so much good and so much evil at the same time. It is a place where we founded it on rape, on violence, on murder, on theft. But it is also a place where we elected our first Black president of the United States, and his glorious, my God, let's just take a moment to give praise to the person that is Michelle LaVaughn Obama. Good fucking God. The grace, the elegance, and the style. We are not worthy. But it is in this country that there is so much, right, that we hold. It is like being in a really good and bad relationship at the same time. America is both toxic, right? It is so toxic, like your most toxic relationship. And yet, right, the person that you want to marry. But there is so much unpacking that we do with each generation to try and perfect it. Donald Trump and Republicans and their administration tried so hard to rob us of what makes America beautiful and brilliant. And what is that? Possibility. The possibility of the thing, the hopefulness that we carry with us, the idea that you could be a child of immigrants and ascend to the highest office in the land, that does not happen in other countries. So for all of the very real flaws that America has, in it, in those seeds, also is our hope. What Donald Trump and Republicans wanted to do was destroy that. They wanted us to believe that we weren't as great a people as we are, that we didn't have power, that we didn't have voice. They were working overtime to rob us of who we are. And I almost fell for it. I started to curse, not just how I curse, but literally curse this country. I started to focus more on the 75 million people who voted for the extension of fascism, for the celebration of white supremacy. I was focusing more on them than I was on the over 80 million people, the Black people, the brown people, the queer people, the indigenous people who decided to stand up and say no. Not on my fucking watch. That is the thing that I think that Republicans want more than anything in life, is to make us believe that there is no alternative, that there is just despair, and that we must become accustomed to the new normal that they try to force feed us. But in November, we collectively as a nation said no. In November, people waited in line for 11 fucking hours in rain, in cold, because they felt compelled to action. That is the gift, right, of Donald Trump, because you have to understand there is a gift and there is a curse. It is about the perspective with which we decide to see things. The gift of Donald Trump and Republicans is that they reminded us who the fuck we are. Right? They are terrified. I keep telling people, no one would work to steal something that they thought was worthless. Right? Ain't nobody breaking into your house if you don't have shit there. Ain't nobody trying to rob you, strip you of your clothes or your stuff if it is worthless. What they did with trying to defund, slow down our mail service, what they did with trying to gut our government agencies, right, was to make us believe that we didn't matter. That only them, only their desire mattered. But the gift was in the reminder that people don't work overtime to try and steal your vote if your vote doesn't fucking matter. People don't work overtime to try and silence you when your voice is not powerful. That is the thing that we need to hold with us. Today's inauguration wasn't about just turning the page, right? It wasn't about just moving outside of this place, this hellscape that Donald Trump turned America into, right? Remember his inauguration 4 years ago was about American carnage. Never in our lives had we listened to an inaugural speech that was steeped in misery and despair, with such a look at America that was through some kaleidoscope of disaster. But you see, the carnage that Donald Trump created, the ashes that are left behind create the fertile ground through which we are building today. We turn the page not as a way to forget, but as a way to move forward in reminding ourselves just how precious, just how important, just how powerful America actually is. As I listened to the beautiful and the brilliant poet laureate, Amanda Gorman, as she talked about growth through grief, I was in full-fledged ugly tears thinking about growth through grief. Many of you who listen to my show know that my mother, my sister, they are yogis, right? And so they have been, their whole life is about leading people into the light, right? One of the symbols that you often see with yoga is the lotus flower. This beautiful flower that literally grows in mud. The lotus flower to me is the floral representation of a phoenix. This beautiful mythical creature that grows through ash, right? That burns things down, not in just the destruction of the old, but in creating, planting the seeds for the new. That is what has happened today. Today is one of those days that it's like you imagine it in your mind, you think about it, and you say to yourself, oh, it won't come, right? Like, oh, what do you do with this? What do you do with this feeling? I've been replaying what watching Donald Trump leave the White House would actually look like. I've been replaying that shit for years in my fucking head. I mean, I had images of the plane exploding, all of those things, the dark thoughts. We won't talk about the darkness. But I will say that what is beautiful about right now is that he's gone. That bitch is dead. Ding dong. The witch is dead. That's how I felt watching his fucking helicopter, watching him and Melanoma and their walk of shame That's all I could hear in my head was the Wizard of Oz, was the dropping of the house and the curled up feet. That to me is a symbol of white supremacy. We have so much work ahead of us. We have so much excavating to do, but today I'm not going to focus on those things. I'm not going to focus on the work. The work is important. What today I want to focus on is joy. Because joy, we often forget, is part of the revolution, right? As well as rest. But joy. When was the last time that you all watched the news and smiled with like glee? That you watched the newscasters laugh and exchange pleasantries? When was the last time that happened? I couldn't remember. I couldn't remember seeing acts of like decency and kindness. It was so important to witness that today because it was a reminder. It was so important for us yesterday to collectively grieve as a nation the over 400,000 lives that we have lost. To think that yesterday, folks, was the first day in this 10-month, almost a year crisis that we've been in together, where there was collective acknowledgement of the trauma that we've been, of the loss that we have had, not only the loss of life, of loved ones, of mothers, of fathers, uncles, daughters, sisters, nieces, aunts, friends, colleagues, but of the loss of our sense of normalcy, of our sense of self. Who are we when we are stripped away of all of the things that make us comfortable, that we think are important? Who are we when we are left with just ourselves? Yesterday's memorial was to that. The lighting of the reflective pool was reflecting back to us the light that we all still have in all of us. No matter how dim, even if it was just the embers that were still burning of our democracy, we didn't let the light go out. That's why today is a celebration. That is why today is something that we should honor and we should remember always. The last time that we saw our Capitol building, it was marred, desecrated by the arrogance, the despicableness, and the disgust of white supremacy. Today, we watched as our former Black president and his beautiful Black wife waved at applause as they entered into the inauguration of their friend. We watched as the first woman, Madam Vice President, a Black woman, a woman of Asian descent, put her hand on the Bible of the first Latina Supreme Court justice, swore her in. That is what I'm talking about when I talk about possibility and hopefulness. You don't see that in other nations, and it cannot be lost on us, the significance of symbolism, of ritual, that this administration, these people, tried to rob us of over the last 4 years. They wanted us to forget. 4 years of being gaslit? 4 years of fucking trauma? Right? I almost forgot what was possible here in this country because of them. They made me solely focus on the bad for so long. I forgot what it was like to feel good. I'm sitting on my couch today and I'm thinking to myself, what is that feeling, Danielle? Is that lightness? Is that hope? Is that joy? Dear God, my body forgot what it felt like. We witnessed history today. We made history happen today. That wasn't by accident. No knight came in waving a sword and made this happen. No magic made this happen. We made this happen. This was the reminder of the magic and the brilliance in us when we decide to show the fuck up. That is our power. That is our purpose. We should never look to forget the last 4 years. I don't want us to forget it. I don't want to forget it. Because it should be a cautionary tale. It should be a lesson to all of us. Just how fucking close we came to fascism. Just how close we came to authoritarianism. So close we could smell it, taste it, see it, and breathe it. But the beauty that we exhibited in our showing up, in our showing out, we renewed our faith. These people didn't renew our faith. We renewed our faith. Today, like November, I feel a kind of rebirth. I feel like today is our new Independence Day, is our true Independence Day. We have Juneteenth in June, which is really should be our Independence Day when all people were free, not free-ish. Today is our day of liberation from tyranny, from oppression. We still have so much work to do, of course. But with a renewed spirit, with renewed grace, with renewed grit, do I feel more committed to the work of perfecting this imperfect union than I have ever been before. I hope that all of you feel the same. I hope that today we can toast, we can laugh, we can hug and rejoice, those in our homes, because #COVID is still a thing. But I hope that we can relight our flame, reignite our hopefulness. And for folks who listen to me all the time, you know that I struggle with hope. Everybody knows I struggle with fucking hope, right? It's like the mustard seed, the mustard grain. I struggle with it. Because there's so many things that you can point to that would make you feel hopeless. But today, I'm making an active choice. And I hope that you join me in this choice. It is to choose to look at the light as opposed to the darkness. It is to choose to recognize that we light up the tunnel ourselves. We don't wait for the light at the end of it. That is the beauty of America. This fucked up, complex, hypocritical place that we all call home. There is beauty in the mess. There is brilliance in the disaster. There is opportunity in the obstacles ahead. One of the things that I had the pleasure of doing today, and for folks who are subscribed to Woke AF, and if you're not, patreon.com/WokeAF, you should subscribe, support independent Black voices. But one of the things that I had the ability to do today was talk to some of our favorite contributors, reflect on how they were feeling and what they are looking forward to. And what everyone said individually was empathy. Being back in the White House, was feeling like you weren't alone, that there was somebody that was going to be grieving and holding you, grieving with you, somebody with a heart. You know, I will tell you this in our last few minutes, is that Joe Biden was not my first choice. He was not my second choice. He wasn't even my fifth choice to become the next president of the United States. I'm not a hypocrite. I will tell you the fucking truth. I didn't like Joe Biden. I was like, I don't want an old white man to be president of the United States again. Like, I'm done. But I will tell you that today, and over the past several months, there was no one better fit for this job. Do you know why? Because Joe Biden has lived through his fair share of grief. And we are a nation that is grieving right now. We are a nation that has lost so much. We need a commander that is steeped in empathy, that reminds us of our unity, not in a naive way, as he said today in his inaugural address, but with hopefulness. That's the theme. That's the point. I think that he is well suited for this job because the task ahead is heavy, and I want somebody who has been through it, who has seen it, to be our guide. I have the utmost faith in him and Madam Vice President Kamala Harris, who is literally the embodiment of America, of a new America, of a new dawn. They are the right people for this job. It will be our responsibility to hold them accountable. It will be our responsibility to show up, to make sure that we provide them with a Congress that will help them do the work that they need to get done. That we don't just vote every 4 fucking years, that we vote every goddamn year there is an election, and I don't care if it's fucking dog catcher or the mosquito board, that you show the fuck up. Because what we know now more than ever is how much our voices matter, how much our vote matters, what a difference an election can make. So, dear friends, I raise a glass with you and to you that we fucking did it. Once again, we live to fight another day. And we have made this country something worth fighting for. So to you, I say thank you. I say cheers. And as I say at the end of every Woke AF show, power to the people and to all the brilliant, beautiful people of this country, power. Celebrate. Thanks so much. See you next Woke Wednesday. I'm so excited. We can start talking about other things than Cheeto Satan. Bless you.